TMS Loves Moms continues, and this morning something we all think about from time to time, and that's the health and wellness of our parents as they get older.
Tech expert Mike Yawni joins us this morning from Calgary with some ways tech can actually be used to help us look after our parents, even if they live across the country. Mike, good morning to you. And many of us don't like to admit that our parents are indeed getting older, and sometimes they need a bit more help.
No, it's so true. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow to realize our parents are starting to age, especially if you don't live next to them, don't live in the same city, the same province. I want to bring up a photo of my mom. She lives actually across the country, halfway across the country. I only get to see her a couple of times a year. She's healthy, she's active, but at the same time, it still worries me because I don't see her very often. So thankfully, there's some tech out there, you guys. You can kind of keep tabs and give you some peace of mind on how they're doing.
Oh.
Is this in lieu of a Mother's Day gift, by the way, Mike?
Never. This would not replace a Mother's Day gift. It enhances it because it's their safety, right? It's their safety. So let's start with wearables and smartwatches in particular. So I visited my mom in the summer, and I noticed she was limping. And I said, well, what happened? She said, oh, well, I was walking to get groceries and I took a pretty bad tumble. She was able to get up and kind of hobble home, and then she recovered for a week, inside the house. Smartwatches now, they have a hard fall sensor built in. So I'll bring up an image of what it looks like. So if it detects a hard fall, it'll actually notify you and ask you if you're okay. If you don't respond, or if there's no movement within 60 seconds, it'll actually send out a phone call to emergency services, and you can even program it to text somebody in your family, one of your contacts, so that you know that they've taken a hard fall, then you can check up on them. A little bit of peace of mind, something very simple. There are other devices that simply detect for hard falls, but you have to pay a monthly service. At least with a smartwatch, at least you have other apps like, heart rate monitoring, steps, and things like that. So it's kind of like a, all-in-one.
For sure. Okay, let's go from wearables to something in the home.
Yeah, not everyone likes to wear smartwatches. My mom, I had to convince her to actually put it on. So that's where smart speakers actually can come in handy. True story here, and I know we're talking about moms, but my father-in-law, I love him just as much, he actually had a stroke in the fall. And he fell, he couldn't get up, he couldn't get to a phone. What he did was he called out to the voice assistant in, of course, a smart speaker, and it was able to notify the neighbors. They called the emergency services, and he was able to get help. So thankfully, he's recovering, he's doing really well. But if that wasn't there, it could have been a very different story. So don't overthink things like smart speakers. That AI and that virtual assistant can really be beneficial in the home. Plus, you can ask it for conversions for cooking, use it as a photo frame. There's so many uses for smart speakers.
All right, we've talked a lot about protecting our parents, moms from physical harm, but now more than ever, there are other threats that are sometimes financial, like scams. We've talked about this a lot on the show, scams, and you've got something for that as well?
Yeah, we seem to be talking about scams almost every week on TMS. And I'm going to bring up an image of a text that my mom sent me. She received this on her phone. It was from the CRA, and it was asking, hey, I think you need to update your account information. Just click this link and put all your information, and we'll sort this out for you. A year ago, my mom called me and she said, hey, my son just called me and said that he's in police custody and he hit somebody in his vehicle and he now needs bail money. And she said, this sounds really weird. She called me, and sure enough, it was an AI voice scam, which is happening more and more now. So how does this happen? The scammers get your emails, your phone numbers, and all your personal information from companies they're called data brokers. Data brokers scour our social media and our online profiles. And what they do is they look for where we live, our kids, how old they are, birthdays, political stances, any of that kind of stuff. And then they compile lists. And these lists are full profiles of us. And then they turn around and they sell them. Well, who's buying them? Scammers are buying them. So what you can do is you can get some online removal services like Incogni. And I've actually talked about Incogni on the show before. And it's actually really simple to use. It's an annual fee. And I'll bring up some video of the dashboard, because what it does is it puts everything in one place. It shows you on a graph how many data brokers it's actually reached out to, how many have complied, how many they're still working with. The thing here is you can actually reach out to these data brokers on your own, but there's over 420 of them, and they go by names you'd never know of. So Incogni will actually do it for you, and some of these companies can take weeks and take months to actually comply. By law, just so you know, by law they do have to comply, they do have to remove you, but it can take a long time. So Incogni's got you covered. It's a one-stop solution. you know, it's that bottom line that if they can't find you, they can't harm you. So think of this: less spam calls, less text spams, and less email spam. So just a little bit of peace of mind.
Sign me up. All right. Thank you, Mike. Great tips.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to my mom and all the moms out there.